Okay, welcome back everybody. It is, believe it or not, January 11th and it's beautiful out here. It's literally 60 degrees. It's pretty windy today, but this weather is nuts. I mean, I remember growing up, it seemed like the winters when I was a young kid were, a lot harder, a lot more snow and stuff. The last, 2 or 3 winters have been pretty, not winters, but I have some of the good bucks have shed, and I just walked this whole little food plot in here below the barn looking, and I didn't find any. So it's too nice not to be outside today. I just gonna go walk around, and I know some of them are still holding. Quite a few of them are still holding, but I do know some of the good ones have shed. So we're gonna see what we can find and see if we can't stumble across the first sheds of 2020. Okay, so been looking quite a bit here. Now I'm over to Brian's. I had watched that tall brow tine buck. He's a nice 8-point with long brows. Come out of this ravine right here, this creek, and walk that hedgerow up the edge of the field right there. There's the house. I'll show you some video I took of that buck walking across there right now. But him and like 4 or 5 other bucks would do it every single night, going to my food plot over there by the red brush, and he'd walk all these long fields. So I know he was bedding right in here somewhere, and I know that buck has shed his antlers. So I got the same 5 deer that come out across there almost every night to that food plot, and now the big one's missing his horns. So I know they're somewhere right here to that food plot is what I'm thinking. So we're gonna comb these fence lines for sure. I'm gonna dive down here in this ravine where he's coming up in and out at, and we'll see if we can't stumble across them sheds. Keep you updated here. I'll fill you in whenever I see a tree down like this from not too long ago. I always go out of my way and go make a circle around it and look under it for sheds. Some deer really like snugging in tight to those down trees when it gets real cold and snowy. They chew on the buds of the tree and use it as cover, even though we really haven't had any super cold and snowy days yet this winter. But we'll see what we find. Obviously, whenever you have a fence line like this, the likelihood that the deer will drop a shed when it jumps it is pretty high, especially if the deer is ready to shed when they jump. It's a pretty good jar. So we already walked the middle of that field. That grass is pretty low, at least where that big 8-point sheds would be sticking out pretty good out there. So we're gonna walk this fence line, look close along that. Part of the issue with finding this buck sheds is gonna be that I wasn't running any cameras on this side, so I really can't zero in on them real tight over here. There's some bucks across the road that I was able to zero right in on where they were living, where they were bedding, and I'll be able to find those sheds pretty easily, I think. But in this case, this buck was crossing a lot of ground just to get to my food plot. So I don't know if he was bedding right here, if he was bedding over there, if he was bedding down the swamp. I just know where he was getting to this point up here. And normally I'd like to get a bunch of cameras in here and really get them figured out to try to find those sheds, but I didn't. And then he shed kind of early, I thought. So this is what it is. We're gonna look our hardest for him. I'd really like to find these sheds because it's gonna be one of our best deer to hunt next fall. So it'd be really nice if we could find those sheds and have that for whoever kills him next year, if he gets killed. It's kind of funny. Kaylee was actually hunting this buck on the food plots. We were getting pictures of him up there on the high plot and this lower plot. And here she was hunting him on that high plot, and he was never getting there during daylight. And at that point, I really didn't have him figured out very good. I didn't know where he was coming from to get there. Well, season ended. The very next night, we were sitting in the house, and I always watch all the deer in the food plots from the house, and here comes this buck out across the field right behind the house. Here, you know, it was probably doing that the entire late season, but we were up there hunting and didn't know he was crossing all them fields and coming all the way down to that food plot from the bottom side. So here, she could have sat right in the house and had a 120-yard shot with a muzzleloader at that buck. It's just unbelievable. So it might work out for the best if someone gets a crack at him next year. As a 4.5-year-old is what he'll be. I think he's gonna be a stud. Let's try to find these sheds. Okay, so this is the hedgerow that buck was crossing every night. He'd cross these fields and go right out across the road to the food plot over there. This hedgerow, I think, is a prime spot for these sheds to be. It's so thick in here. I mean, you'd almost have to rub his antlers on something just to get through it. So we're gonna really comb this really good here and see if we can come across them. Okay, finally found the first shed of 2020, and it's literally tiny. The only reason I even seen this thing is because I almost stepped on it. I'm in the food plot here, and actually sheds are really hard to find in these food plots because these stalks of the brassica are super antler-like looking. But anyways, so I'm walking up here. You probably still can't even see it. Look at that little tiny shed. That thing is so small. Number 1 on the year. I bet there's more in here, but you have to, I mean, if they look like that, you gotta step on them to find them. We'll keep walking around and see if we can't do any better than that. So we're about right at the end of the food plot here. You can see it's all the way up through there. And shed number 2. This one's certainly a little better than the last one. Good deal. That's 2 out of this food plot, and they're both pretty darn small. Progressively getting bigger though, so that's a good sign. We'll keep on looking here. Stinking porcupines that are girdling that tree. Gonna die. Suckers. Well, I don't know if you guys were able to catch a glimpse of them or not, but there's two pretty nice bucks that just jumped right there. But you know, that's the risk you take getting here early after these sheds. But I know for a fact that two of the biggest ones in here both shed their antlers. So those are those, there's quite a few 2.5-year-old bucks in here as well. And those were two of them right there that just took off running. You know, you don't want to, it's kind of risky to get in here after these sheds before everything's shed, but the reward's worth it to me knowing that the two biggest ones have shed. So that's kind of, you know, what justifies me being out here right now. But it's kind of discouraging to see two big bucks while you're shed hunting. I know these sheds have got to be right here close somewhere. We're gonna keep looking hard. Let's see, right here's where them two big bucks came down through. Right through here. Okay, everybody, so I'm in the food plot right in between the two fields. The stand that we hunt out of, that enclosed stand's right there, and we're right in that middle plot here in between the two fields. And I think I just stumbled across the shed I was looking for over here. Show you what I saw when I seen it. I think that's him. Yep. That is not the big one. That's the 8-point. I'll have to pick that up and take a closer look at it, but heck of a nice shed right here in the middle of all these fields. Certainly pretty easy one to spot. I'm gonna take a picture for Instagram here and Snapchat. Okay, let's go ahead and pick it up. Sweet. See if we can't find the other ones. Okay, so as everybody can see, we're back to the house, and that's a wrap on the first shed hunt of the year. I found 3 sheds, an absolutely tiny one, a little spike, and then a nice 2.5-year-old 8-point side. That's a buck that would come out in the food plot quite often when Kaylee and I were hunting up there. Going to be a really good deer next year. And I know he shed his other side already too, so I know that one's up there somewhere, but didn't find any of the big ones I was looking for, but we still got all kinds of time to find those, and there's still quite a few that are holding yet that are like this buck that still need to drop. So we'll see you on the next shed hunting video, or we'll see you right here tonight, because I'm going to be taking that flintlock over to Slava's and seeing if we can't nail a flintlock doe tonight. So see you in the woods. Thanks for watching, everybody.